Thank you for taking time.
Yeah, sure.
Pleasure to connect. Do you mind if I ask you a little bit about your story, so to say, how you came,
Sure.
basically how you came to the course and how you combined it, like when the moment came where you thought, oh, it's being used by the Holy Spirit.
Right. Yeah. I think my story with the course, well, maybe it started like a long time ago, probably, maybe lifetimes. I think nobody comes to the course without any sort of like foundation, because it is, um, yeah, it's something, it's something else than anything else. But
Absolutely.
for me, as Neda, it started when I was 20. And I first read the book Conversations with God from Donald New Walsh. You probably know him. And at that time, I was just still so allergic to the words God and Holy Spirit and even Jesus and everything. It was like, no. And I think most people, especially in Europe, recognize that. Like, it's not in America, I feel like there's much more openness about God. Everybody is raised with the word God. And in Europe, it's more like, oh, that's only reserved for extremely religious people. And if you're in spiritual circles, you'll say, divine spirits or the universe or just love, you feel more comfortable with that. So I remember just reading that book, Conversations with God, and it had these huge letters on the cover, God. And I used to literally cover those letters with my hands or with like a different, like put a magazine or something around it when I was like sitting in the train or in the metro, just so that people wouldn't think that I was like really religious and reading this super religious book. So there was a lot of shame around that Christian terminology, and there was just a lot of undoing that had to be done in order to prepare me for what the course came to bring for me. So that book really helped for me to finally connect again with the word God and see, like, okay, my associations that I had with God are not the God that that is trying to reach me, that is trying to contact me, that is trying to like the relationship that is trying to be brought back to my awareness is a God of love. And that felt very deep for me. I remember just crying when I read that book. It was like, whoa, it's like this. I used to be so homesick also when I was a child, even when I was home. And I would just feel this deep sadness and this deep longing back home. But I didn't understand because I was like, I'm here, I'm here. My parents, I had great parents, and but then I realized, like, oh, I was homesick for God, like my true home. And after I finished reading that book, I again felt inspired to go to the library, and I was led to Return to Love from Marianne Williamson. And then I read the introduction of Return to Love, and it was actually signed by Donald Neil Walsh. So that was like really beautiful. It was as if he just took me by the hand and he brought me to Marianne. And then it was like, okay, Marianne, we'll take it from here. And then when I read Return to Love, and I just read the quotes from A Course in Miracles in Return to Love, it just touched me so deep. I was like, I need to read that. I need to read what she is talking about. So I went back again to the library, and I remember just seeing that big blue book, and I was just holding it like in my arms, like I was just hugging it and just feeling like, oh my gosh, this is going to change my life. So yeah, again, I feel like Marianne was okay. I brought you here now. This is as far as I can take you. That's how it felt for me. It's my relationship to her as a teacher, and then she brought me to the course, and I don't know, it just felt so deep. When I in the beginning I didn't understand everything, and there was nobody around me that was studying the course. YouTube wasn't really happening yet, so I didn't even know about different teachers. I didn't know anybody. I just started reading. I didn't know anything about it neither, but I just started reading, and it just felt so deep. And only after I think 3 years of just studying for myself is when I joined a study group here in Rotterdam which was really nice to finally connect with other course students and have like a really nice course teacher that also really doesn't compromise with the course teaching. She's a very good and beautiful teacher. And she even asked me in the beginning, like, oh, you're a singer. Will you ever sing about the Course in Miracles or sing like spiritual songs or something? I was like, no, never. I would never do that. And then, like, I think now
something changed.
Yeah, it was like 4 years ago. I came back from 9 days of work with Byron Katie. So maybe, yeah, I think a lot of stuff also opened up during those 9 days. And then when I came back, I think about 2 weeks after, yeah, you probably heard the story that I just felt as if I was pulled towards the piano, and all of these songs just started to pour through with lyrics coming from different workbook lessons from A Course in Miracles. And the songs just played themselves and they just wrote themselves. And I was just really shocked. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
Still feeling that shame about the Christian terminology, you know, that a song with the words God in it or Christ in it, it just still felt very weird to me. And I never thought I would actually make a CD out of them, because when they came through, it was like, no, this needs to go into the closet. This is not meant for any other ears. But yeah, as it goes with everything, it's not like you just said, even with planning the festival, you just have to remember that it's not you that is doing the planning, and that ultimately there isn't even a festival, you know, that it's all just for the healing of our minds. And that was the same thing with the CD, that eventually now it just won the Best Album of the Year award, which is super crazy too, but also really funny. I don't know, like in the end, it just all starts to become so funny, you know, that it really just taught me to surrender and to just say, Lord, here I am, and just use me, you know, use my voice. You can use my music, whatever is most helpful for all of us here to wake up. I'm in, you know, it came to that point, like, okay, sure.
There's nothing to hold back. Like,
I'm sure, yeah.
I don't have to say anything for myself because it's good anyway.
Yeah, and also because I saw like how much of a mess I make when I try to lead myself, and when I try to take the steering wheel myself, it becomes just such a huge mess. So I started to see that whenever I'm in that mess or whenever I'm feeling anxious, it's like, oh, okay, there you go again, Neda, right? You think you got it. You think your plan is better than mine.
Right.
Okay, and then again, it's again the surrender of like, okay, I really don't know what's best for me. I don't know what's best for anybody. And I just want to follow, and just let me know where you want to have me. And yeah, it becomes very humbling, and know that it's also not personal. It's not this special task that I was put upon. Like, you know, the ego can make all of these special things from it. Like, oh, I was chosen to make these songs, and then it was just so much undoing. Like the spirit was, no, it's really not special. It's all for you. It's all about the journey. It's all about healing. There isn't even a CD. The CD doesn't exist, you know. So yeah, it's been amazing. And since then, since I really truly said yes to not per se only like making that CD, but the CD was more a symbol of saying yes to spirit, I feel. It was more really saying yes to salvation, yes to the plan of love, the plan of God, instead of the plan of the ego, which is just doing everything yourself and trying to make the dream be really great instead of trying to actually wake up from the dream.
Yeah. Can you describe how the course continues to change your mind, or how you experience yourself in that? Because like it starts for most course students, it starts off with withdrawing from the world, or with some at least, withdraw from the world. There's no world. I just do my inner work and that's it. But you chose to listen, to be really active in that sense, and to be available in, you know, with your abilities. And do you see how this is working within you, how the course is working within you while being active in the world?
Definitely, definitely. Because I see like everybody I'm working with is myself. I noticed that for my mind, it's most helpful to see my mind in other people. So also like when I'm working with like in prison, for instance, it's just for me, it's like, it's an amazing backdrop for healing because it feels like there's a magnifying glass on my own mind by just witnessing these boys I'm working with. Because everything is so big, like the anger can be so big, the rage can be so big, the sadness can be so big, the insecurity can be so big, but also the happiness can be so big and all of that. But it's just, whoa, I feel every time I'm in prison, like, oh, okay, so I actually need this. I need it to be like right in my face for me to see what's going on inside my mind. So for me, I always see like, you know, these boys in prison, they're like really my teachers. Like I learned so much from them because they just show me what I still believe. And for me then to see that with the Holy Spirit, because I always try in every moment to remember, like, again, to step back and let the Holy Spirit, let love lead the way. So when I'm in these sessions, when I'm in prison or doing the voice liberation, or even when I'm singing, like whatever it is, or even maybe now talking to you, it's like, who is doing the talking? Who is doing the teaching? Who is doing the singing? Do I dare to step back and allow Spirit to take over and Spirit to talk through me and teach through me? And then, like I said, just like in prison, when I invite the Spirit to look at what my body eyes are perceiving as anger or sadness or insecurity or whatever, and then to just see like, no, it's not true. What you are is still innocent. What this boy here in front of you, he's still innocent. He's not guilty, even though the judge, you know, he said he's guilty, and in the world he did this terrible thing. But to actually learn from deep within, I can feel it, and I can really feel it. Like, no, it's not true. You're still innocent, no matter what you did. And then to teach that also, not always in words, sometimes even in words, I'll say it when I really feel to say it, I can say it, but sometimes it's not even needed to say it, but just to know it in my mind and look with that knowing to the other boy, I just see miracles happen. I see eyes open, and you see a sparkling in somebody's eyes. And as the Course says, whatever you teach is strengthening your own mind, and teach only love, for that is what you are. And I feel like the Spirit can use anything for that purpose. Like with me, it's music and voice liberation, but for somebody else, it's whatever. Like it can be anything can be used by the Spirit. So, and maybe now indeed there's a time where I'm more going outward and I'm going into the world and I'm traveling and I'm teaching. But maybe again, there will be a time where it's more inward. Like, I don't know, like I don't really, care so much about that plan. It's try to go with the flow and go whatever feels guided.
It seems to be perfectly aligned as well, like, because now there's a time of like just giving it all away and to be visible and to be active. But does it feel for you like you're kind of compromising on something, or is it for you actually a teaching situation where you realize, wow, everything is given, like I'm not lacking in communication or in being connected or rejuvenated?
Right.
Do you get your rests or your moments where you realize, wow, there's no gap?
I do. I really do. I feel like ever since I also started to trust really in the divine providence, to really know like, okay, even money, even like everything is not my business. Like nothing is my business. Like my only business is just to be willing to follow love, like to follow Spirit. And I see like whenever I do that, like everything just works out. Everything like literally just everything. And even if sometimes maybe it's hard, like I said, again, it always comes down for me that I'm trying to do it myself. And then I become the doer, and I think I know where I need to go and what I need to do, and I try to force my own plan into it. So yeah, I feel whenever there's some sort of like stress, it's just best for me to always just take a pause, like just pause for a moment and just, again, just, yeah, I just like to close my eyes, maybe repeat the lesson of the day, and just remember to hand it over again and just ask for guidance, like ask like where would you have me go, what would you have me do with what would you have me say, and to just remember what it's all for. It's all for the healing of the mind, and it's actually never about the thing that you think you're gonna do.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then it becomes like it becomes this special thing. Well, it's, I know it's hard to explain, but you know what I'm talking about. It's really about the surrender and a trust also that you know that you're being taken care of. And I had that experience, especially when I was in Mexico shooting my video, because I used to work for myself since I'm 18. I have my own business, and then you say you're a freelancer, so you work for yourself. And that is lovely because I always had the whole authority issues, would never be able to work for a boss. But there was also so much fear, you know, like, okay, am I going to make rent next month, or am I going to get enough, blah, 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 the whole belief in lack and everything. And then all of a sudden I was here in Mexico, invited by David Hofmeister, and I had like 10 people of his community that were on 4 different cameras and on a drone, and I had a makeup artist, I had like 3 assistants, and we were on top of this mountain, and beautiful, beautiful place. And I mean, I was just, and I stayed in a huge house, a huge mansion with like a fridge that was just filled up to the notch, and everybody was, you can take whatever you want, and it was all free. Even the ticket was paid for. And then when I was standing there, I was like, whoa, okay, I'm not gonna say again that I work for myself, because I really don't work for myself, because I could never arrange all of this happening right now, right here. So that's when I truly got that experience, like, no, I don't work for myself. I work for spirit. I work for love. And if spirit wants me to have this video on top of a mountain in Mexico, I'll have a video on top of a mountain in Mexico, you know? And if not, then apparently that's not the best for the whole, you know, and it won't happen. So
right.
Yeah, I just really started to surrender into that and to know that really and truly spirit knows best.
Yes.
In any and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, oh, thank you for sharing, and very grateful and excited for about your participation as a speaker or as a voice encouragement singer at the Miracle of Bad Meinberg Festival, the ACIM Festival.
I feel it. It's going to be beautiful. And maybe, do you feel like I should share a little bit about the voice liberation? Since
please go ahead. Yeah.
People will probably be like, what is this?
How does voice liberation work?
Exactly. So voice liberation is it's just like a really beautiful tool, basically, to use your voice to really get deeper through those layers of those blocks, because the voice is so vulnerable. So like we just said, whenever you hit one of those blocks, it's so helpful because you get to see whatever is still hidden in your mind, and you get to actually transform it. So with voice liberation, whenever there's this exercise to use your voice, and I have like a bunch of different things. I never know also what's going to happen because it's just all so guided. But what I've witnessed so far is that immediately those beliefs will come up whenever you're asked to use your voice. The belief of I'm not good enough, the belief of I don't really matter, or you know, all of those beliefs of just not being who you truly are, which is that perfect child of God, just whole and complete. It will instantly come up and hit you in the face. And that is where the healing lies. And then to express all of that, those unconscious beliefs through your voice, I've just seen miracles happen like right in front of my eyes. So it's just a very powerful way. Somebody said in New York, she came with a one-liner, it's a very powerful way to use your voice to liberate your soul. So it's voice liberation, use your voice to liberate your soul.
Wow.
So yeah, it will be different every time. There will be exercises one-on-one and sometimes in pairs and sometimes just with the whole group. But it's definitely really amazing to experience. So I think everybody will be in for a big treat.
I think so. And yeah. You know what? Like there are already participants asking me how they can participate in your voice.
Oh, beautiful.
So this is already, you know, the waves are already rolling in.
Yeah.
You've got already a full workshop by now. Not even here yet.
Yeah, it's just amazing. It's really such an amazing way to heal. I'm still every time flabbergasted to see how it works. I don't really know, but it's just amazing. I think the voice is it's so vulnerable because you get instantly to like, it's my voice, you know. I think it has something to do with that. So there's so much identification around the voice, and it will just instantly bring you to that deep pain of not being good enough and not being deserving of love. And yeah, you just get a chance to fully release all of that through your voice. And it's really not about singing beautiful. It's not about even singing. Like sometimes we're just screaming or we're crying or we're just sighing or we're laughing, you know. It can also be very joyous, of course. It doesn't have to be also heavy. But it's definitely not about singing. It's not about singing a song. We're not using, most of the times we're not even using words. We're only using just expressions and vowels and whatever wants to come out. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So it's basically, it's already there. Everybody has a voice.
Definitely. If you can talk, you can do voice liberation. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I can join too.
Definitely. Anybody can join, really.
Okay. Well, perfect. I'm looking forward to experience it. And yeah.
Me too.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for taking time, Neda.
Thank you. Great talking with you.
Bring as many friends as you can. Call them all over. We've got plenty of space. And yeah, of course, there will be translations, English, German, German, English.
Oh yeah.
And so we can all communicate with each other.
Right.
And, well, for the rest, I mean, it's Pentecost. It's the time when the Holy Spirit is being poured out into the minds of the followers of Jesus. So maybe we don't even need translations. It's all been done by the Holy Spirit. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to see all of you.
Yeah, same here. Thank you so much for being available.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Bye for now.
Okay, bye.
Father, today I only hear your voice. In deep silence, I come to hear your voice.